You can sit in my lap. Jeez Louise.
And that's the first thing everybody hears when we go live. Something sitting in Jared's lap. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the THS Discourse. We're trying something a little bit different today. New streaming service. And we've got a guest. And please share. Please like. And you know what? Subscribe. Be one of our 433 plus subscribers now on YouTube. You can comment. And we'll read it aloud, maybe even show it on screen, which is really cool. I'm 40 and technology just blows me away. I'm an old man. So give me 1 second. I'm going to share this.
Be one of us.
It's easier to do this when Keith is running everything. So anyway, tonight we've got obviously Seth in the house. He's having a house party. Keith, myself.
Hello.
I'm reading as I can see you on the screen, Jared and Nathan Thomas Milliner, who's alive. And then JP, who I already forgot, DeStanano. I'm sorry. I fucked it up already. There we go.
Yep.
He's the creator, writer, director, and actor in Halloween Night, which you can find on YouTube, and I highly suggest watching it. Welcome to the show, everyone. How are we doing tonight?
Doing well. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I think we all saw the film. Am I wrong? Okay. So yeah, it's a good Halloween film. It's longer than most fan films I've seen for Halloween. Also, coming right under an hour, which is good because sometimes fan films are over in a flash, and you're like, "That's it."
Yeah.
Like the Confession of Fred Krueger, it's like, and you're like, ah, come on, man, I want more. Like a sequel.
Yeah.
So anyway, we
Shots
tease them all
fired.
the time. We tease them all the time about a sequel. But anyway, yeah, I think Nate wrote an article about a review of the movie. He kind of gushed over it a little bit.
Gushed.
You said that the other day in the comments, Nate. So I'm giving your word. Tell us why you gave it such a glowing review, if you can, Nate.
I just I like complete stories, and I think your film is a complete story. I don't want to just see a scene or a recreation of from something we've already seen. I want to see a complete film, and you were able to tell a complete full story. I didn't feel like I needed more in 50 minutes, or is it 50, 52, somewhere like that?
It's just an hour. It's like 59 minutes.
Just under an hour. Okay, so and I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed the atmosphere.
Is this glitching for everybody or just me?
Am I glitching?
No, seems fine for me.
I don't know. I don't know. It's been a while since I wrote it, so I don't remember what I read or what I wrote. But I just, there's a lot of fan films being made now. Seems like there's been an explosion in the last 5 years, and
Awesome.
When a really good one comes in, I think it needs to be seen because they could get lost in the sea that's out there right now. So that's, I think, why I said I'm going to bring attention to it, because I think you did a really good job.
Yeah, and I appreciate you responding to me after my request to do the article. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's I feel the way you do. I feel like there's a bunch of fan films out there, and they're just not fully complete. They're just like segments people are just putting together to create a movie. And I felt like I wanted to try to tell a complete story, and a story that could kind of maybe resonate with people and people can relate to, specifically like actors, right? Because some of the circumstances that my wife in the movie she finds herself in is she needs a reader for her audition, and that's something that we deal with on a daily basis, because we both are actors in real life. So I wanted to tell a tale that that we understand, and it's kind of meaningful to me in a sense. So
that was a great element of it. Like it's not some babysitter. It's not some girl hanging out at a party. It's like, it's a professional young woman doing what she does. Like you said, this is like, and so
I
it was
agree.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it was just different. I want to see different when I watch fan films. I don't want to see just the same thing.
Right. And
And that was
sorry, I was going to
Go
say,
ahead.
I tried to create characters that, people can relate to. And, so another a YouTuber brought up the other day that it feels like it's an ensemble type cast. And, that's really cool. It's you're not just doing the instant gratification of just introducing someone and then killing them just for the sake of doing something cool. Like, hey, I just want to see Myers do this, right?
Yeah.
I really want to have that, hit home with people, like, for instance, working in the warehouse, a role like the character of Dave, who's my coworker, the guy that comes in and introduces early in the film, who gets whacked as he's walking out of the warehouse. And, I wanted these characters that could be relatable, they have that feeling it's like they're working in a blue collar job, small town America, and just highly relatable. That could have just been an easy, like, hey, how you doing? Have a good night. You going to the party? Nah, see you later. Killed. But no, I tried to bring a deeper element to it where, with that conversation, you're actually introducing my wife. I show her visually on a picture, but we don't really get to meet her until later on. And so yeah, just trying to create a little bit of fun with it, with these characters, and and then after the opening titles, it backtracks to minutes earlier, and I thought that was an interesting route to take too, kind of
I did too.
unlimited storytelling, right? Kind of, I guess, Tarantino-esque, right? Giving you filling in the backside of the conversation that she had on the phone with her friends that kind of blew her off too. So I thought that was interesting and fun to explore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Your musical choices were interesting in this film. How old are you, JP?
How old am I? How old do I look?
You don't look a shade over 28.
All right, I'll take that all day, baby. I'm 34.
Once I heard Lunatic Fringe come out, I was like, what is going on?
Oh man.
I wish I could take credit for that, but that was our sound engineer, Dwayne Cathy. That was his idea. And Dwayne's been he's been a godsend for me on this movie. He's helped us out big time in the trenches, trying to get this audio work done last minute. And when it came to crunch time, this guy, he pulled through. He really did. And he did the original score for this film as well. So anytime you hear, obviously not the John Carpenter's music, everything else you hear musically is his. So it's it was really good. He did a really good job.
Yeah, I particularly loved it. It opened with Lunatic Fringe. I was like, oh shit, It already feels better. But I wanted to ask you about that because YouTube is so fickle about copywritten music. I mean, how did you go around that, or how did you go about that?
We're rolling the dice on it is really what we're doing. Obviously I didn't get the rights to it, and the video can be monetized, but I think as long as you set the settings right, you don't plan to monetize it, I think we're okay.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, a lot of those sites they get onto you for having music, but you're still in the fair use technically, and they just hear it and they're like, no.
That's what we feared, if someone was just going to come in and completely block our video or just silence it, right? After all this hard work, but we did have a backup plan as far as music goes. In the event that does happen, right? We can slap something else on there. So.
Yeah, we had that Star Wars film. We had an original score, but the composer used a lot of the John Williams themes.
Yeah.
And probably a month before we premiered it, that whole Vader movie came out that was really popular. I don't remember what it was called.
Oh yeah.
And they got shut down because they had the Imperial March on it.
Oh my gosh.
And like the fans raised hell, and actually Lucasfilm stepped in and told them, "Hey, knock that off. They're cool."
Yeah.
And so they were able to keep it. But we went back and rescored the whole film because of that. I was like, I don't want to pull it off all this work, And then with Confession, I had the song at the end, Terrible. I wanted there's a cover by Harley Poe I'm friends with up in Indiana, and I said, I knew it was a cover, so I had to contact the original band, which is over in Europe. and they said they were totally cool as long as we used their version. So I got a contract from them giving me permission. I sent to YouTube, but yeah, when I was in. So hopefully no one ever pulls it from me because it's the music really works well. I know it would hurt to have to change that.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is that crap gets pulled down all the time, but there's like full-on ripped movies on YouTube that have been up for like 8 years.
Yeah, I know.
Makes no sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess the more attention you get, I don't know.
Yeah. And then even before you could even get to a release, you have the case of what was it, Star Trek, and they raised so much money on their campaign. And I mean, I guess they had to refund everybody, but I don't know how they went about that.
Yeah, it was just so much money backed that it technically classified under like a motion picture budget or something of that nature.
Yeah. Yeah,
I think that's the whole reason, like Vince from Never Had Cologne, I think that's the whole reason he went to the episodic thing, because if you raise too much money, it would just get shut down.
Right. I mean, I guess that makes sense, right? Yeah.
Well, I think it was also because they were keeping the money too. They weren't, and it's a licensed project. It's Star Trek.
They were probably buying all their cameras and all their lights and buying their production company.
Well, I thought that as long as it goes towards production costs, it's okay.
Yeah, it is. I think they were using it to like produce and make money off of like movies and merchandise for their fan film. That's why like Vince, all the money goes towards making, and that's it. He doesn't really get anything off of it, and then the rest of it goes to like wildfire funds or something.
Yeah, that's pretty much what we did. We kind of took what Vince did and kind of modeled ourselves after his platform, and realized that's probably the safe way to go. And understanding that, we got these shirts made. The people paid for them, right? Like a donation comes in, you take in that donation, and you put it towards the creation of it. So it just offsets it, right? People are kind of it's like if they're just going to go buy it themselves, right? So I'm not making any profit off of this. So
So why did you decide to make a Halloween film? Is it? I'm guessing you're a Halloween fan.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, it was one of the first horror movies that I ever saw. My brother showed it to me, and I was probably like 8 years old when I first saw it. And I just tell people all the time that it resonated with me, and it appealed to me through the emotion of fear, right? So that's a big deal, and it stuck with me over the years, and very memorable. And my brother, who actually showed it to me, he passed away back in 2014. So I thought that it would be a good way to honor him, to do something like this, and I feel like I'm doing that. I feel like he's proud, and it's pretty special. And not to mention, I'm bringing people on board that I've always wanted to work with too, as far as actors go here in Houston. And there's a lot of talent here in Houston that's kind of untapped, and I want them to be seen, and they deserve to be seen. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to get my name out there too. I know this is a great way to get exposure, and people want to see Myers. They love Michael Myers, and that's kind of the main reason why I did it.
Yeah, that's a good reason. So going back to the like why you chose certain things, so it's a direct follow-up, I guess, to the first movie, right? Or is the follow-up to the second movie?
I never really thought about it, honestly. I kind of wanted to just be like its own thing. And I guess if you had to pinpoint, I'm just taking elements from a lot of different things. Like we alluded to a bus crash, so maybe he got out from the bus crash. Maybe it was the bus crash from 2018, Halloween, and and we're mixing and matching all kinds of styles from the types of kills from all the different movies over the years. You start off with the coworker Dave. He gets whacked, and then we reveal his body towards the later part of the movie, and that's very reminiscent of how they revealed the tow truck driver in the original. So we kind of honored the original in that way. And then the second kill, actually no, it would be the third kill, is when he kills the girl in the kitchen, raises her up with a knife, and very, very similar to part two.
Yeah.
And so yeah, as far as story goes, I mean, just kind of use your imagination. It could be anywhere. I didn't want to kind of pigeonhole myself into that. So,
I like that. I like that you didn't just decide to do a follow up to a certain movie. You kind of did what the 2018 movie did, which was kind of throw some respect towards other films with homages like I noticed a few of them in the movie, and then you got grandson of Dr. Loomis, right?
Yeah, the grandson, and that was another thing. You usually see the Laurie Strode stories, right, and all the trauma that has affected her over the years, and Jamie Lee Curtis loves to use that word trauma, right? Like that's her thing. And I figured I was interested in exploring the trauma side of the Loomis family. They had to have known about this. He had to have talked about this. He's one of the most famous patients probably in the small town's history. And I'm sure he's going to talk to his wife, his daughter, and then that'll get passed down to his grandkids, which was me. And I really wanted to show how it affected my character. And I didn't really use too much expositional dialogue to kind of hit that point. I tried to show it through imagery, through newspaper clippings and the news broadcast when I'm talking to Tommy Doyle in the warehouse towards the end, and he talks about how this time of the year it affects all of us, without even mentioning Myers. Not once do you ever mention Myers. It's kind of there. It's bubbling. It's right there on the surface.
Yeah, it's looming over everybody in the community.
Well, that's one thing that, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh no, that's one of the things I liked about it was you have those elements, but you're not. It's organic. It's not forcing it. It's not fan service. It is what it is. Oh, this is Tommy Doyle. You don't make a big deal about it being Tommy Doyle. Or this is Loomis's grandson. You don't make a big deal. It's not. You're not laying it heavy on and saying, "Hey, we're fans." Or it's like it just feels natural. I think is what it is, and like the characters feel natural, and it's not about, hey, look, we're making a Myers film. Hey, we're making a Halloween film. It feels. I don't know. I guess that's what it is. I think you handled it really. You guys handled it. Who was this? You had writing partners, right? You had a screenwriter. Did you write the screenplay, or did you the story, or I saw
the story was three people. It was Michael Tula, Zach Salazar, and myself. And the screenplay was actually written by Zach Salazar, and so we all collaborated on the story and which route we wanted to go, and everyone put in their input. But before we wrote the screenplay, we sat down and we each pitched a treatment to how we wanted to kind of skin this cat. And it turns out that we went with my idea, and I'm happy we did. It just seemed like we all kind of enjoyed that route, and so we sat down and we wrote this. It was about, I would say it turned out to be maybe like 30 pages, and then we just kind of expanded upon it. And it turned out to be, I would say, 45 pages eventually. You just kind of add scenes to it. And, of course, you got to create room for the Indiegogo backers, because we had walk-on speaking roles for this movie that people could purchase as a perk. So you have to create some wiggle room in there and be like, okay, where can we squeeze this person in? And the two Indiegogo backers were Jeffrey Molinaro and Cade Garrett. Jeffrey Molinaro is my coworker Eddie, who I sent home. I said, "Hey, sorry, man, I can't do overtime. Don't shoot the messenger." Yeah. So that was the first Indiegogo backer.
The guy that was almost done.
What's that?
He was almost done with his little project he was working on.
Yeah, for his man cave.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the second was Cade Garrett, or Karate Kid. In the Karate Kid. So, yeah.
Cool, I would have wanted.
And he drove all the way in from Alabama, and that was his first time acting, and he was really nervous, but I worked with him, and I was trying to make him feel as comfortable as possible on set. Just say, hey, you're walking out with your big brother, you're going to a party, and you're about to have a good time, and just relax and just enjoy the moment, you know. And he did a good job, you know. He had a little bit of a Southern accent, you know, he's from Alabama. He drove all the way in, right? So, you know, I told him in between takes, I'm like, hey, and without trying to sound like a dick, I was like, hey, can you just maybe not do that accent? Can you just try? Can you see? Can you see how it's like? He's like, oh yeah, I can do it. And then no, right back to Alabama. So.
I got an actor on my star of my new movie. He's from Litchfield, Kentucky, which is very rural, and his accent is really thick. And he was telling me a couple weeks ago about how he got cast in this movie that's set in New York. He's supposed to play a New York street guy. He's like, now guys, this is how I talk. All right, there ain't no change. I can't imagine you doing that, man. He's like, I did.
You said it took place in where, in New York?
He was supposed to play a New Yorker, like a street guy in New York, and he's from rural Kentucky, where it is. I mean, some people in that area I can't understand. I'm from Kentucky. I mean, that's how. Yeah. So he's like, so I was like, that just made me laugh my ass off. But I mean, you took a risk, really. I mean, to have, you know, to offer that. You don't know what you're getting, but again, you're an actor. You know how to coach them, and you know how to get what you need. I mean, as a director as well, you know, just to, you know, it's all about suggestion and behavior, you know, and you just, so you were able to get what you needed. You knew what you just work them a little further. Because I mean, honestly, I don't know if you found this, but a lot of times the people who aren't actors tend to give you some of the better performances because they're not overthinking things and they're just kind of following direction.
It's true. That is very true. They're not thinking too much. They're not getting into their own head too much. Yeah. So it's interesting. You get those moments of happy accidents, I guess, is what we would call them on set. They would happen a lot, and a lot of unintended stuff happened, and it's crazy. It's crazy, kind of what this turned into, and you know, and here we are, right? And we crossed 500,000 views, and it's just man. Like I said, man, I tell this all the time. It's like I would just, you know, be thankful to get 10,000 views, right? You know, I mean, even 5,000. Like, you just never know. You never know what's going to hit. And pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, and I noticed that it seemed like a lot of the comments are pretty complimentary rather than, you know, because you get a lot. I know our buddy Renee, he got some negative comments pretty early on with the Spirit of Haddonfield. And Spirit's pretty good. But I was looking through I like looking at comments on YouTube because you never know it's like a lot of chocolate. You never know what you're gonna get. You know,
you might get like a text bot too. Those pop up from time to time.
Right. We get those on our page. The only comments we get. No. No, man. So since you said this, I have to ask, what were your ideas? You said you guys all came up with different ideas, and you went with your idea. Can you kind of give us an idea what some of the other things were?
No, because they're going to make that one.
We're going to make that one.
That's part two. No, we're done. I think I'm done with doing the fan film, honestly.
Yeah.
I want to move on to something else, and I want to be able to get paid for it. You know, you realize how much time and effort you put into it, and
you may as well be singing in Nate's ear right now.
Yeah, people. Yeah, they want you to make. It's like, well, dude, that's like another year of my life not getting paid, making something I can't get money for. You know, like I have original ideas. Like I'd rather do that. You know, it's like, and that's one of the things that, like you said, you're done with fan films. That's like part of my reason is like. There's so many. We should just talk about that. There's so much stigma about it and criticism about fan films. Like, first thing they tell you is, why don't you come up with your own thing? Right. And I'm always like, well, you know, I've made 8 films and 2 of them are fan films, and I made one. I made Nightmare because I'd wanted to see that since I was 12, and they didn't make that movie. Right. And I made Star Wars because it was for charity for a children's hospital, and my friends asked me to.
That's nice, man.
But really everything else, thank you. And then, but everything else has been original, and I have tons of other screenplays. So that pisses me off when they say, "Oh, why don't you come up with your own thing?" Like, well, I do. I have for like 20 years. Like I've made. They're So that's
yet people complain when the remake gets made, but they want more fan films.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But that's another interesting thing is the fans are. I mean, it's different. People are all different, but some people, and I'm sure you've gotten these comments too. I've got them, and I'm sure Vince gets them. Oh, well, what you did was better than what the studio's doing, or what that kind of thing. Which is it's nice, but it's kind of
it's humbling to hear that, but it's really not. It's not true.
Total bullshit, man.
How delusional would I be if I were to be like, oh yeah, guys, yeah, we're definitely better than the
Yeah, it's just it's ridiculous. Like, look, no, like like that 10-minute lightsaber fan film is not better than everything Disney's done. Okay?
You're like, are you watching the same film? I made this film and know how good it is.
Yeah.
I know how shitty my okay. That's all I see.
Never hike alone.
I can't even watch it anymore. I'm just like, you could have done that differently. What the hell was I thinking there? And it's funny, but nobody else points this out. It takes me back to like a specific day on set. I'm like, oh, I know my mind was there at that point, and I know I was in a bad mood. I know my wife was pissing me off that day. So it's like, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how all this comes together.
Yeah.
So you got your fan film out of your system. So what kind of other work are you wanting to do? Are you looking to produce your own films and like horror or just whatever?
Yeah, I mean, just kind of whatever. But I think the next project I want to do is with my co-producer, John Schilling. John Schilling played Michael Myers in Halloween Night. And he's got some crazy ideas, man. This guy, he's been a close family friend for a while, so I know a lot about him, and I know what he's capable of thinking. And we're so early on in the brainstorming process of this next project we want to do, but it's probably going to be about a 15-minute short. It's a psychological thriller, and we just want to kind of put a twist on something that's the unexpected, I guess. Like, there's a twist. That's all I'm going to say. And there's a twist, and then we want to keep it short. We want to really showcase what we can do if we do raise a pretty good budget, and I guess kind of in the sense of how Vince DeSanto kind of went big with special effects and gore and Never Hike in the Snow. You're just kind of sizing it down, and if you're trying to pitch something to a potential investor, they can see that in a shorter time. You don't have to extrapolate that over a full feature film. So I understand what he's doing and why he's doing it, and he's smart. He's very smart, and I admire him for that. But
keep it short and tight.
That's it. And that's going back to my film. We wanted to just shoot what we wrote. We didn't want to. It seemed like people were complaining, like, "Oh, why didn't you just do the whole hour and a half feature, or why didn't you just keep it as a short film, like a 30-minute short?" I'm like, well, we shot what we wrote. We served the story. And I think we're telling the story that we want. We shot everything we wrote, and there was no wasted space. It felt like one of the compliments I get from the film is that people say that it just feels like it flies by. And I would rather have that than someone saying, oh man, you just dragged this on just to get to that point that really didn't have a big payoff. Like, who cares? Like, what was the point of that?
Yeah.
So I kind of just want to get to the clutter and just kind of get to the point. And I feel like people have shorter attention spans now. They just kind of want that instant gratification. So you just got to kind of make it nice and tight.
Yep. Yeah, the film definitely doesn't have like a lot of filler or anything. It just follows its path and does it.
Yeah.
We do have a
Facebook expert, a film expert. We have a comment here. It says, "Hey JP, I'm 10 minutes into your film and it's awesome so far."
Oh, thanks, Nick. I appreciate it, man. And then all goes downhill after that, man. I'm sorry. Don't watch the rest of it. You'll regret it.
There does seem to be a an obsession with the time. Like I know Vincent's big thing right now is everybody's hating on it because it's not long enough.
Yeah.
It's like you said, like, well, this is what I'm telling here. I mean, with him, he's got a bigger story and he's introducing things. Obviously, he's laying. You can tell as a storyteller, he's laying down, establishing characters, establishing plots and plot lines and things that are going to pay off on the future entries. But that's, and like you said, you know, you told the story you wanted to tell, and people wanting more is the good thing. If they're like, God, I just, like you said, I can't, because we've sat through those fan films, like, oh, geez,
Yeah.
I don't think I can go any further. But,
some are pretty tough to watch. But you know what, man? People are putting themselves out there, and they're being vulnerable. And you know, I got respect for anybody who puts stuff out there. You know, and
anybody does something and puts forward deserves some credit.
That's it. Man. That's exactly it. Who am I to judge? I'm not one to judge.
A lot of people talk. I always say that when people say, you know, maybe they're not making it fast enough, or they're not where they think they're supposed to be. I was like, look, you've already won. You've done something. You took that step, because most people never had the fucking balls to take that step, and you took that step.
For sure.
Pat yourself on the back for taking that step.
Yeah. Thanks,
and that's the thing. And so now this brings attention to you, and people can see that you know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, filmmaking is really great in that movie.
Yeah, and that is one thing. It's one thing that we get criticism for, because well, they know you're getting credit, you're getting attention for Freddie. I'm like, yeah, I know that's why, and that's why I don't brag about it, because I know 50% or 90% of the people watching it are all about Freddie. They don't even know who I am. You know, they don't even know who you are. They're Michael Myers fans. And unfortunately, they're not going to carry over that enthusiasm to what we do originally.
Right. It
just doesn't happen. They want you to make another Michael Myers movie. But at the same time, there's going to be people who see the talent and the potential there, who will stay with you, which is what's really cool. Because like a lot of people, I don't think anybody watched half my shit until the Freddy film. And it's a catch-22. It's like, well, I hate that they're watching because of that, but at least now they're aware again that there's something to invest or pay attention to. So that's another reason why I wrote the article, because I'm like, this team, they have potential, and whatever they do next, I'm going to check it out. Now, I don't care if it's Michael Myers or whatever it is, it's going to be quality.
Yeah. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah. It's special when you get eyes on your work, you know, and like for you, for example, right? You had Mark Patton, right? You saw Confession at Horror Hound, right? And you presented it there.
Yeah, I'd already knew. I mean, Roman, who made Scream Queen, I'd met Mark years earlier. That he was actually at the show.
Okay.
In the front row, and he was premiering. Scream Queen trailer premiered right after the movie premiered.
Oh, amazing! Yeah, I saw.
Oh, it's a great film. But really good. I mean, the first day it premiered, one of the first things I saw was Tom Holland sharing it and telling everybody it was awesome and they should check it out. And so I was just, what? So I wrote Tom a message and thanked him, and he just encouraged me. He goes, "You got it, man. Just keep going for it. You got an eye." And that meant the world to me. That was like when I was like, maybe, because I didn't think I would be a filmmaker, and that was it. So, and like I was telling these guys, like when you get somebody like that who you admire, and I'm sure you've had a lot of messages yourself and heard from people that you admire tell you, "Hey, man, good job."
Yeah.
That's what motivates you to go, all right, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going. And
yeah. It's pretty incredible. It's like you feel like maybe this is the path I'm supposed to go down. Maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? So it's really incredible when you have. So for instance, I had Charlie Benton. He was the cop in the 2018, the Bon Me cop from 2018 Halloween.
Yeah.
He reached out to me, super nice guy, super down to earth, and he just said, I don't know what you're doing in the future, but you're obviously on the right track. I can't paraphrase what he said, but it was kind of along the lines like that, and it really meant a lot to me. It meant a lot to me, and and just the outpour of people's comments that have been positive, and of course there's always going to be negative comments, you just take them, you just brush them off, but for me, at the end of the day, I made a movie that I want to watch, and that I think that my brother Dan, who passed away, I think he's happy up there, and that's all I can really ask for. I made a movie I want to watch. I just hope people like the same shit that I do. I mean, that's kind of what it boils down to,
So
I try to keep it simple, and if you like the movies that I like, then you might like Halloween Night, maybe. So.
I mean, it's really cool that you're doing that for that reason. I mean, I'm sorry to hear that you lost your brother, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, we all are.
Because I have a lot of friends who do, like, a lot of what they do is for that reason. Like, hey, I know they're looking down on me and they're cheering me on, and they'd be right next to me if they were still here.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, that's really cool.
It's really special. I mean, and then my middle brother Alex, he became an executive producer on this film, and my whole family has been kind of behind me on this, and I even threw my mom into the movie. She plays the voice of Mitzi, the agent that's on the phone with and then of course my wife, obviously, Ainura, and it's really cool when you can just kind of bring the people you love into what I'm passionate about,
Oh yeah, and it's there forever, man. It's there on film.
It's the first time, that I directed something, and they supported me, and it was fantastic. It was just, I never felt that kind of support before, and it was just very meaningful to me. And they knew my reasons behind it, and so of course they're going to be gung ho, right? So, yeah.
Do you have any favorite memory or story from on set, or something that was fun, or something that was super difficult to do, or something that comes to mind, maybe? It could be the stupidest thing ever. I really don't care.
Yeah. When we were shooting the final climax, when we blow Myers off the balcony, that was pretty fun. That was really cool. And John Schilling, he did the first thrust fall. What we did was we just stood on. We put the trampoline right underneath him and just fell right into the trampoline. And then I watched how he did it. He looked a little stiff, a little nervous. You could tell like he was bracing for a fall. And I do stunts. I kind of started off in my career as a stunt guy, and so I was like, let me just throw the coveralls on just to see, for shits and grins, to see how it turns out. And sure enough, we used my tape. So it's me falling.
That's cool.
But another good time was when my wife gave the kick to John, and he actually got a concussion during that.
Oh,
that
was a good kick then.
He got
pretty good on.
So he got a concussion. Yeah, she delivered a good stomp kick right to his stomach. And John actually has a wrestling background, so he knows how to sell hits. He was a wrestler, and he just sold it too hard. And if you look at that shot where he gets kicked, he's really to camera left pretty far, so he doesn't have to do much to get off camera. But he went like full blast back, and he just too much, and he got a concussion. I'm like, relax. You don't have to go. You don't have to go Stone Cold Steve Austin on me here. Jeez. So, and then not too long after that, when I take the piece of wood, which is actually drywall, and I swap it across Myers' face, I actually we rehearsed that with me originally supposed to use the fire poker, and he was supposed to grab the fire poker, grab my arm, and push it back into my head, and we rehearsed it too quick, and that fire poker went back and it crunched me right in the forehead, and I got a concussion. And I had a goose egg on my forehead, and I was like, I thought I was going to call it quits right there, but we had to keep pushing forward, and I just said, screw it, man. Let's just take this piece of drywall right here, and let's just use that, and let's just go forward with it. But yeah, that's what happened. So if you're counting, guys, there's 2 concussions so far. I don't know if he's got to keep in tally, but
So what's the story behind the house? Is that someone's actual house they're remodeling? Or because
Yeah.
I can tell it's a legit house because there's one scene where your wife is like going to the door and there's like crayon drawn on the wall. And I'm like, that's definitely a real house. They didn't just draw
Yeah.
crayon on the wall.
and there's kids that live there too. So that's my buddy Wilbur and his wife Mariella. That's their house, and they're just nice enough to let me film there. And I said to them, I was like, "Hey, do you think I can use your house?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure." And yeah, I'm like, "We're probably going to need quite a bit of time here." He's like, "Yeah, just call me whenever you need." And we'd have a shoot like 3 days away, and I'm like, "Hey, man, if some people's availability opened up, I'm like, can we just squeeze a shoot in this day?" He's like, "Yeah, just come on by." I mean, it was that simple. I mean, pretty easy. We didn't have to do a whole lot of booking for it in advance. We kind of, I'm at the mercy of everyone's schedule. No one's getting paid, so
Yep.
that was one of the lessons I had to kind of learn on this film is kind of respecting people's time and
For sure.
schedule around them. Yeah.
I want to ask you, since you're talking about moments, when was the geek out moment? Because I know the two fan films I made, the first day in the boiler room with Freddy in the gloves, scraping and everything, was a holy shit, I'm making a Freddy movie. And then on Star Wars, the first day, we're walking out, John Wells and I are walking out into the woods, and there are 4 stormtroopers in front of us, and we're like, oh my God, there's stormtroopers. So what was the moment on set where you're like, you see Myers or whatever it is, and like, oh my God, I'm making a Michael Myers film?
I think it's when the first time I really geeked out was before filming. It was when John tried on the coveralls and the mask for the first time, and it was Zach Salazar and myself here at my apartment, and John put everything on, and I was legit scared. I was legit freaked out, and to me that was a good sign. And I was like, okay, I think we're doing something right here. But as far as like a geek out moment, I would say when we shot the trick-or-treating scene and when we did that crane shot when we were revealing the house and I saw the playback on the monitor, I was like, wow. I was like, that was a shot that I had envisioned for so long to try to kind of replicate that Dean Cundy crane lift, that tableau shot that they like to call it, and everyone's just kind of frozen in time, and just it really paints that picture of what just happened here. Small town America, someone just got killed. It could have been anybody. And that's when I kind of geeked out. I was like, that's the shot I want. It is like my dream shot.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You finally got to get that thing that's been in your head forever out.
Yeah, and you really see it, and it's like that. I tried to convey that to people, like, I was been dreaming about that shot for so long, and they're like, oh, okay, JP, all right, what do we have for lunch? What are we having for lunch?
Yeah, like there's these moments where you're behind camera and you're just, holy shit, it's happening. Like, with Confession, like I said, the story of that I'd wanted to make since I was 12, and so one of the catalysts of it was in Jeffrey Cooper's book. He had the prequel about Freddy, and there was a scene where Freddy kills a kid in the alleyway with the straight razor, and I had wanted to see that played out. So when we shot that on that day, that was one of those geek out moments. It was like, I've been waiting to see this for 25 years, and then tell people like this movie probably happens because of this scene. Like this is probably why I ended up making it. So like you said, you got those images in your head, and any film, it doesn't not just this film, but anything you've done, and you do, you get to those same. I mean, I know this is your directorial debut, but you got many more coming where you have those moments where you're like, oh my God, man, I've been waiting to see this scene or that shot or this thing. And then it happens and you're just, it's like you're behind the camera. I had this weekend when we were shooting, there were moments where I'm like, holy, like, I'm so excited that we're getting some amazing stuff here. And
it's really special. It took me kind of a couple of shoot days to kind of get comfortable to where I can really just kind of step back and say, wow, I'm really doing it. Because the first few shoot days, I was really nervous. I'm not gonna lie, and so I was very I had a lot of tunnel vision, right? So people would come up to me, ask me questions, like specifically Zach, my co-producer. He'd come up and be like, "Hey man, what do you think about this shot for this scene coming up?" And I'm like, "Dude, I didn't want to hear it. If it doesn't pertain to this moment right now, because as a director, you're problem solving. You're constantly making decisions, right? So, and I have like ADD. I can't focus, man. Like, so for me to focus, I can't have any distractions. I can't have any. And sometimes, I'd be a dick, and I'd just be like, "Okay, we'll talk about that later," So at the end of the shoot, it was just like, "Hey, man, I apologize if I was very direct with you, but that's just how I have to be in those moments."
You gotta get your shit done, man. And you got your plan. You're like, okay, yeah, but this is how we're doing it. And and so like you said, sometimes you're just. I know exactly what you mean. Like you've got so much in your head, and you're 20 steps ahead of everybody else, and then someone's like throwing you a speed bump. Hey, what if we did? No, we're doing it this way.
It detracts. It takes away your momentum sometimes, and I don't know. And I knew time was of the essence when we were shooting, and I knew people had to be at work in the morning. So I'd rather just pick a stopping point and just pick up. Sometimes we'd have to pick up like 3 weeks later, sometimes like a month later, and you have to try to replicate that lighting, and sometimes it's hard. You have to. Our film, we started May 24th all the way until October 10th. 25 shoot days over the span of that time. So, you're having to try to remember every stopping point, and then you have to pick up from there. So I always wanted to make sure, hey, if I'm going to throw blood on this girl, I want to try to at least finish that, right, and just move on. So that's why we had our dedicated blood days, right? So where, you can kind of just get messy with that, and that just be its own animal. So, but speaking of blood, the kill scene with Nancy, the babysitter, that was a very memorable shoot. We shot all that in my apartment, and we shot that while my wife was away in Kazakhstan. And at that point, those were some of the first shoot days, so I was a little on edge, and I just wanted to get some hands so we have put together somewhat of a trailer for our Indiegogo, and. So I was a little bit nervous during those times and trying to get that done. And of course my wife, she didn't know while we were filming. I started this movie behind her back, and then I called her. We were Skyping, and she saw the bats on the wall, the Halloween decorations, because we shot this in March. Excuse me, it was in May. She's like, "Why are there bats on the wall?" I'm like, I got some news for you. We're filming there. Remember that Halloween thing I was telling you about? Yeah, we're doing it. And you're going to be the lead actress, sweetheart. So, so that's kind of how that all came about. But doing the blood with Sandra Gronberg. She plays Nancy. That was pretty cool. She did that very well when she spit that blood out of her mouth, and it kind of lands like right into her eye. I had people laughing when that happened. I'm like, stop, because that was probably the money shot right there that we can use. And she stayed in character and she didn't start laughing, because that was the first time she spit the blood out, and it worked, and we kept it. So, yeah.
That's interesting.
I have a question on the mask. Did you have that specially made for the film?
Well, I went with Sinister Studios. It was the Obsession mask, and I had never seen that mask in any of the fan films before, and I liked it. And it was pretty affordable, and they do custom designs with those masks. They didn't send it back in to get a beholder or anything. So, however they did it at Sinister Studios was what you see in the movie. We didn't do any kind of rehauling after that.
I was gonna say, because the mask you used was better than a couple of the sequels, in my opinion.
Yeah. You can't take the masks too seriously from 4 and 5. Although Part 4's mask has kind of grown on me a little bit, just a little bit. But I think that's just like the biggest case of false advertisement I've ever seen VHS. When I saw that in the video store, I'm like, oh man, here we go. And then when he pops up from under the bed and you see his blood, I'm like, what is this? Whoa, what are we doing here? You know,
Their plan worked.
yeah, they got it.
Yeah, but he had to get a new mask. I mean, come on. At least it was explained. He grabbed it right off the shelf. Probably didn't even look at it.
He
Stick
did.
to the mask from part 5.
And then the mask from part 5 with that was Don Shanks playing Michael Myers.
Oof.
The neck was just like it was flopping around. It was crazy.
Put the collar up. Put the collar up.
Didn't put the collar up.
Oh, come on, what are you doing, man? Yeah, that was a hot mess. But you know, there are aspects of those films that I just really enjoy. You know, and I'll probably watch those for Rob Zombie Part 2 any day, probably. I mean, yeah, they're fun. They're memorable. I feel like Part 4 probably has the best feeling of Halloween that season. I feel like that they just really did well. You know, especially with their establishing shots early on, they really set the tone good for a good Halloween vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They were also trying to recreate the vibe after Halloween 3 because, you know, Halloween 3 is what it is, but we need to bring back a Halloween movie.
Michael Myers movie.
Yeah.
A Michael Myers movie. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Do you like Halloween 3?
I thought it was pretty good. I mean, you know, obviously that actually, I take that back. That might be the worst case of false advertisement right there. We're not putting Myers in his entirety of the film. So, I mean, it's what John Carpenter wanted to do, you know, and I respect his vision because he wanted to do an anthology, right? So that kind of fits along the line.
That was the intention, yeah.
Yeah, so you know, you gotta give the man respect for trying to do what he wanted to do, right? So, just call it something else, right? You could just rename the movie.
Yeah, we've definitely had that same discussion. If it was anything else other than labeled Halloween, it would have been a really good fucking movie at the time.
After Halloween 2 came out, I mean, they could have waited another year and maybe spaced themselves away from Myers a little bit, or maybe even explained. Michael Myers is not in this movie, by the way. Like,
that's why whenever I show people the movie, I just tell them it's Season of the Witch. I don't even mention it's Halloween 3 until like afterwards.
Do these people you show movies to can they not read?
I don't show them. I just stick it in and press play.
Oh, you just stick it right in.
I will say Halloween 3 probably has the best soundtrack. I think the music is really good in that.
Yeah, it is.
And our composer Dwayne Cathy, he liked to emulate a lot of that music in his original score for our film. So, and I think you really hear it at the final closing of our film when it gets kind of like that kind of the gothic sound, and it starts pumping, and then it just cuts to the final. And I think that has a Halloween 3 feel to it to me right there. And I think he did a great job. Dwayne's fantastic.
So, go back to the Halloween movies. So you don't like Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, all right?
It's hard to watch. It's all over the place. It's just, I don't know.
Have you seen the unrated version?
I don't think so. I don't think I've seen the unrated.
It's way better.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, I would second that because I was the same way. I could not stand Halloween 2. I couldn't watch it, and I even after Danielle Harris was like, "Have you seen the director's cut?" She goes, She goes, "I don't like the theatrical version. Go watch the director's cut." I still didn't watch it. I still didn't give it another chance. And then like over the years, so many people that I respected were like, "Man, that's my favorite one, the director's cut of Halloween 2." I was like, "Fine." So I was at the store and I saw it for like $12 on Blu-ray. I was like, "All right, I'll buy it." And I bought it. I was like, "Holy shit, they weren't lying." The studio chopped the heart out of that movie. I mean, they made it something it wasn't, that Rob never intended. And so I don't like the theatrical version. I can't watch it, but the director's cut is actually pretty good.
I'll have to give it
I don't know why they packaged it in the Scream Factory box set. Okay, so what about Halloween Resurrection? I got to get a feel for what kind of Halloween fan you are.
Oh, well, it's just Halloween Resurrection. I feel like Halloween Resurrection and H2 are just very dated movies to that era. It just feels like, you feel like you're watching like I feel like especially like H2O. I feel like I'm watching Varsity Blues or something like that. Yeah, I feel like James Vanderbeek is just gonna come on out, and throw a touchdown to Peter or something like that.
Awesome.
I think Nathan mentioned that when we talked about those movies. It's got like that studio like set design and lighting and
It's exactly what I said about it. It's just that whole era of film just has a look and a feel that I just don't care for. When I look back at my least favorite in my lifetime 5-year span of films, it's that 5 years.
98 to 2003 maybe?
Like 98 to 2002, 2003. So I just like when Keith here was a baby.
Yeah.
That was a college student, I guess.
I do have a soft spot for H2O though. That was the first Halloween that I saw in the theaters, so that was a really memorable experience for me. My mom took me to see that. Then again, my mom took me to see The Doors and Natural Born Killers in the theater when I was way too young. I was like,
oh, they know all about people going to see movies.
Like when I was 6 years old, I'm like,
apparently your mom likes Oliver Stone.
Yeah, mom's like Oliver Stone all the way.
there you go.
They know all too much about too young of a person going to see very R-rated movies.
Yeah,
because that was me.
That's why we are the way we are.
All right,
I wouldn't trade it for nothing. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Okay, I'm going to keep asking. Halloween 6.
Halloween 6 was the first Halloween that I ever saw as it was like the first marketing that I ever saw on live TV. So I guess whenever I was watching, like sports on TV, the commercials, I would see the trailers for it. And that was the first time that I ever saw it. So I was super pumped up for that, but I actually never saw it in the theater.
That was my first to see. I saw in the theater was 6.
Yeah. I thought,
and I loved it.
I thought I had some good tension in it. I thought it had some scary parts to it. And then just kind of like, what? Like, what just happened? What's going on here? It took. What's that?
Have you seen the producer's cut?
Yeah, is that the one where Loomis goes back inside towards the end?
Yeah, they use the runes and Loomis gets the brand
on his arm. He's like, ah!
Best scene ever.
Yeah, I didn't see the movie as a whole. I just saw like the difference in the scenes of what they were. So
yeah.
I mean, even seeing just those scenes as standalone, I was like, it didn't really justify watching.
They changed the music back to the Halloween theme in there. It's a little bit better in my opinion.
Right?
Yeah.
We want an ultimate cut with both of them like smashed together.
Yeah. Scream Factory, where are you?
I mean, they already released that awesome box set that I have that nobody else had.
That box set's like $800 now on Amazon.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah.
Like Scream Factory could make oodles of money, just oodles. The Friday the 13th set just came out. And sold out. They had to release more or something like that.
They upped it to like 7,000 orders or something like that. I think.
Right. Yeah. That was their. I guess they had to be cute about it. They couldn't just say make as many as we can get. And like that. No, so let's re-release the Halloween set. And everybody's all let's add 3 more spots for Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends, and it's whatever. Okay, so if you're gonna watch the Halloween movies, are you watching Halloween 2 or Halloween 2018 or Halloween Night?
It's tough. I think I got to go back to 2.
Yeah,
that had the biggest impact on me. I saw it shortly after seeing part 1, when I was obviously too young to be watching this shit to begin with, so it really, that resonated with me as well.
Yeah.
And, I didn't understand why the hospital was empty. I'm like, why is there only 3 people working in the hospital? but I didn't care. I was like, it made it more creepy. Right?
Yeah.
I'm rolling with this. I like this.
That's
And
probably,
I really like it. What's that?
this is probably the same hospital that Chalice was at. He's just having an orgy somewhere.
The on-call casting couch. Man.
So, and I really like the score for part 2. It's very gothic. I like that sound.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so your Halloween 2 is over. Are you going to 4 or are you going to H2O? I'm trying to feel out what kind of Halloween fan you are.
Like the Walking Dead questions. How many people have you killed? And how many movies do you watch?
Yeah. I'm on the stand right now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure.
I mean, we're all different, so no judgment.
Your character's name is Loomis, so I'm hoping you pick the Dr. Loomis route, which is 4, 5, and 6, rather than the Laurie Strode route.
Yeah, it's tough. H2O is just kind of,
You get the nostalgia with that, right?
yeah, it's hard. I have the nostalgia with that, but as far as story goes, I think the 4. I think I got to go 4 with story, just for that. And I feel like part 4 could have ended the series right there with kind of passing the torch to Jamie Lloyd as she was kind of discovered.
And H2O could have as well.
Yeah.
A great ending for
Yeah.
yeah.
But I really like the lighting in part 4. I thought that was pretty cool. That felt like a traditional kind of Carpenter lighting with the blue hues, especially when Sasha Jensen is battling on the staircase. That's your boy. I know. I watched the interview. He's spitting out his blood. He's like, "Fuck this blood," you know. And
Don't make me taste my own blood.
yeah, he's like, I couldn't believe they kept that in there too. By the way, but anyways,
Little spit take.
Yeah. But I like the lighting there in the stairwell when they cut to the wide shot. And we tried to emulate that lighting when my wife is hiding underneath the little nook under the stairs. If you look and you see it from her point of view, you see the window in the blue hue. I mean, we kind of hit it spot on. I think the lighting looks very reminiscent of that moment in part 4. And I like that. I thought that was cool. So, so part 4. I go part 4.
Okay, you're okay then.
He's just making sure you're not like me.
I don't know.
I'm pretty cool.
I'm thinking of like the Loomis route, which I did appreciate as well. Like, because I thought about that. Like, if I were to make another fan film outside of Nightmare, what Halloween would probably
Hold on, Nate. Stop. Let me stop you right there. Nate, let me stop you right there.
I'm not making it.
Hey, Seth, cover your ears.
That's
You hear about him making fan films. Go ahead, Nate.
Well, Halloween would be the one I'd go to, but I always think, like, what's the story to tell? Like, I don't know. Because like with Confession, I knew what I wanted to tell, but like with this, nothing jumped out. I was like, well, the only thing I would like to explore would probably be Loomis.
Yeah, it just seemed logical to me. Like I was saying before, but the Laurie Strode stories have all kind of been told.
Been done.
It's been done time and time again. And I don't want to say I'm getting tired of it, but I just wanted to see something new. I just want to step fresh. And
thank God you weren't a Strode or a Meyer. There was something, because that is like, it's like, even like Friday. I'm like, if I were to make a Jason film, I'd probably lean more to doing Pamela Voorhees' story than just another Jason kills people in the camp thing. But Loomis, to explore that character, I mean, the Shape probably wouldn't even be in it because there would be no point. But I would like to explore who he is or what he went through. I like to see, like, what I like about the potential of a fan film is to show things that we never got to see, that things we're aware of. Because I did write one where I show the guy getting killed, and the Phelps garage guy getting killed in the beginning, because I had access to a replica of that station wagon. That would be cool to have him pull up and like have that whole scene play out. But that's what I like. And like when Steph was doing the Halloween comic books in what was it, late 2000s or early 2000s, he hired me to do some artwork for one called Sam Hain, which was about a news reporter during Halloween 2 who's trying to get the case because of the guy who does the news report part 2 is like the town, the big famous news reporter. She wanted to be like him or beat him. So she was like going around risking things to get the story before him. And she ends up at the school where they find the knife and Salwin written on all that. So the story was about that and what happens to her in that school. Michael stalks her and kills her in the school. So the smart one, I was like, that's really cool shit. Like I like, because you're talking about a whole town and Michael's somewhere.
Right.
You know, he's somewhere out there doing things.
Yeah.
So especially if you take out the Laurie Strode connection thing and you just kind of like what 2018 did, which I like because it opens up these type of possibilities where we don't just have to follow this whole Myers lineage, painted into the corner on the part of it. As your film is, you didn't tie yourself down. Yeah, you're a descendant of Loomis,
Right.
but that's not why you're involved in it. That's not why your wife's a threat or at risk or why you're at risk. He's not coming after you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I try to make it with layers too, right? Like in the circumstances that these characters find themselves in, I thought were kind of funny too. But not, like my wife, she's got to get an audition. She's got to get it done ASAP, and everyone's partying on Halloween. My character's stuck, working at the office. You got the guys that want to go to the party, they never make it. It's like it's these problems that they're having, right? It's not just about Myers. I try to make it a little more in depth, and it's like, oh, Myers just happens to be there. So I think when you try to build upon that, you flesh out these characters a little bit more, and it adds more substance to it, I feel like. And so
For sure.
We got to want to hang out with them and stay with them and see where they're going to go.
Yeah.
And then care when they do fall into harm's way. I mean, that's what your film did, was you focused on character. And, that probably comes a lot from your being an actor. I've taught, there's a young actress who lives here in my neighborhood who's in my new film, and she was in that Ted Bundy movie. She played the Ted Bundy's girlfriend's daughter.
Oh,
and
cool.
I was talking to her mom about it. She said, a lot of people aren't right. She's 12, so there's not a lot of roles out there. And I said, I think the best thing to do, I always say, is the Stallone route. If you're an actor and the roles aren't coming, just write your own fucking thing. I mean, it's all about your reel. So write a short film that plays to your strengths, something that you really want to do. And bam. So, I mean, as an actor, it's great that you jumped into directing, because you could do that for years. You wrote this part and you're in it. And I'm sure it was, it was kind of cool to be in your own destiny there, where I get to write this character, I get to direct this character, I get to bring him to life in my way.
Yeah, and that's funny you said Stallone, because that was what Michael Tula, my co-producer, said. He goes, screw it. He's like, JP's just going to Stallone this movie. And it was funny you say that, because those were his exact words when we first sat down and approved the treatment for it. And I don't want to say I'm tired, but I was just getting a little impatient, I should say, trying to wait for opportunities and roles to come my way. It takes a lot to line up. Projects have to come up. They have to go to the agency. Then the agent has to come to me. And you got to do the first round of auditions and the callback. And it's a lot of things that have to line up to get these gigs. And I'm like, I'm tired of waiting. I'm tired of waiting. I just want to do something for myself, play to my strengths. Do a subject matter that I'm familiar with and that I'm passionate about too. And I can help out these people in Houston, as far as getting them the exposure. And they're very deserving of it. A lot of these people that I'm working with, they're just overall good people. And those are the people I want to work with too. I'm pretty picky when it comes to that, and I try to keep an eye on in the community here, like, especially like on social media, right? Like who's talking to who and who's voicing their opinions, and who's going to be someone who could potentially jeopardize my production with saying something stupid, So I'm taking all of that into consideration. So, hardworking people that are deserving of opportunities are people that I want to work with, and and it's fun for me to get people on board and have them excited about, this production. And I enjoy promoting them even after the fact, even after we've released the movie. It's been out for 8 months now. And, I enjoy going on social media and making these art pieces of, that fit the dimensions of an Instagram post or to do the Instagram stories. And I did one for you, Nate. I did one when you after you did your article for our film. I put out a little image with one of your quotes. I don't know if you remember. You probably don't, but,
No, I did. No, I remember. Yeah, I'm totally in agreement with you.
Yeah.
When I go to casting, I'm looking for someone unique and who is hungry and is appreciative of it, and is going to be someone that I want to be working with. That is going to respect it. It's because a lot of some actors, especially if they work a lot, it's just another gig.
Yeah.
You take, like you said, you've got these people who maybe don't get the opportunities or don't get cast, and they're untapped, or they're just underused, and you know they're hungry for it, and you're in the same shoes as an actor yourself. You understand their frustrations and their problems, and you're able to say, all right, come with me. I'm going to take care of you. We're going to do this together. Yeah. And there is that reward when they go off and they do make it. And you're like, awesome. That's what I want. I want to expose you. So if I write posts, because I do that a lot, I'll write a post about a makeup artist or actors or whatever as an appreciation, but also like, look, these people bust their ass and they got tons of talent, and please take a look at them. And I even encourage that when I do articles, when I write reviews. When I did a review on your film, I made a habit to invest and find out who those people were who worked on everything in your film, and find out what else they did and mention it in the article. It was like, look,
it's greatly appreciated, man. It's greatly appreciated.
Yeah, and that's what I said. I wish people would do that more. If you like the cinematography, then find out who that is. Don't just say had nice photography. Find out who shot it. If you like that performance, who is that actor, and what else have they done, and what else are they doing? Yeah, because that's because that means so much, especially at this level, where we don't have the exposure. We don't have the you every little. Just seeing your name in print in an article, in a review, could mean the world to some of those people who never get them.
To me, it's special, right? Because I know how it would feel if someone did it for me, and that's why I do it. And one week I'll be like, okay, I'll highlight one member from the crew, and then the next week I'll highlight one member from the cast. And for instance, I highlighted our behind the scenes photographer. His name is Jesus, and I did a post for him, and he appreciated it, and I don't think you see that enough, and unfortunately, and you want to try to make it enticing for them too. Obviously, I got to try to get something back out of it, right? I love doing the artwork. It gets my chops up. It gets, I develop my craft with graphic design and all this, that, and the other. But you kind of hope you make it enticing enough for them so that they share it. So you're kind of leading them to water, right? And trying to meet them halfway. But all I got to do is just click the share button, right? It's not that hard. You'd be surprised how many people have a hard time hitting that share button.
Oh,
right? I hit the share button when you asked me, buddy.
Not
only that, I made an Instagram sized one too. I don't know if you guys. I would give myself a pat on the back for that one.
Yeah, it does. And it doesn't take long, like you said, or to make those appreciation posts about your people who worked on your set for 12 hours or 40 hours or whatever it was, to say, hey, I took 5 minutes to write this. Hey, I love this person. They're awesome, and you need to know who they are.
Yeah, man. That's why I feel like I kind of catfished our Michael Myers, John Schilling.
Mm-hmm.
I told him, I was like, hey, man, I got this project I'm working on. Would you be interested in playing Michael Myers? He's like, oh, yeah, dude. And at that time, we didn't really know the scope and how long the film was going to take. It turned into a half a year project. And, and we were busting our butts late at night. And he had to be on at work early in the morning. Sometimes he's going on 2 hours of sleep, and he's an energy broker here in Houston, and they need his attention. They need his full attention, and So I understand the lengths he went to. So I gotta respect that, you know, and abide by his schedule and understand his needs, right? And that goes for the entire cast. Like, you got to understand what these people need. You know, going back to what I was saying earlier, you know, you gotta really understand like what's going on in their lives. I think that's important as a director, taking the time to figuring that out. Get to know your people, right?
Oh,
I
yeah.
think,
Yeah.
and I think it's just like, you know, it's one thing if you're throwing a lot of money at them and, you know, you can buy their time, right? That's essentially what that is, right? In the indie film world, and you're kind of doing this out of passion. I mean, passion can only go so far when you got to be up at 7 a.m, right?
Yeah.
And, I mean, let's just be honest here. These people have lives, you know, and I get that, and I respect that. So, you know, just try to make it as enticing as much as you can for your cast and crew. So.
And it goes back to what you said about being a director and how you're narrow. Like, part of that narrow vision is that I don't want to waste these people's times, especially when they're working for you for free. So we ain't got time to kick around tons of ideas and find out what it is. We've got a plan, because I don't want this actor who's got, you know, 2 shots sitting here for 10 hours waiting for me to do it. So I've always got that in my mind. Like, people are waiting on us. People are sitting around and of course that's film. But like you said, in the indie world, people are doing these things for favors. You want to be as considerate to them, like you said, as possible. And that adds stress to the director, but it's the stress that you take on because you appreciate them and respect them. And if you do that, they'll remember it, because a lot of people waste their time, and they'll come back and they'll do it again for you. And that's the best compliment you can have, is when you get done with it and they'll say, anytime, anywhere, I'll be there. I'm sure you got a lot of people on your, if you're doing what you say you're doing, they'll be there for anytime you call them up, and they'll be like, yeah, I'm there, man, no matter what you're doing.
Yeah, you were kind of breaking up on me there, Nate.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Is everyone else okay right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Connection? All right.
Hello.
Yeah. So it's about respecting your people, understanding everybody, and you know, I'm not going to mention any names or anything, but as an actor, I've been on a set, and you know, I had this one director. He was like, okay, yeah, now we're going to smash this bottle over your head. It was one of those breakaway bottles. And you know, I was unaware that was even happening. I just came up with it on the spot. And I'm like, well, that's, you know, I feel uncomfortable. I've never done this type of stunt before. You know, what are you doing here? And he's just like, no. He's like, you're going to do it. And he's like, and if you don't do it, if this movie's not successful, it's on you. And he just straight up said that to me. And that was probably the closest I ever was to walking off of a set. And, you know, it's just very disrespectful. And, but I assessed the situation for what it was. The actress who I was acting alongside, she drove all the way in from Austin, which is like close to the better part of a 3-hour drive. And, you know, and the producer of this project was somebody that I respected. You know, I worked with him in the past. So, but it was the director who just didn't understand what he was asking. And he was being very rude and disrespectful. And I was like, you know, there's just times like that you're gonna face things, and you know, you have to just try to kind of assess the situation and just kind of push on for the greater good. And that's what I did. I was like, you know, I got to just stay here and do this for these other people. But if I didn't know these other people, I probably would have. I probably would have just hauled ass and just left. So, yeah, crazy stories.
Yeah. Do you want to plug anything? We're gonna wrap up here and get going here in a minute. Is there anything you want to tell anybody out there that will watch this or is watching, where to follow you, all that good stuff?
Yeah, guys. First and foremost, thank you all for tuning in and giving our film the support and the exposure. You know, it means everything to our cast and crew who worked on it. And, you know, we're going to try to, I'm going to try to get content out there for you guys. If it's just behind the scenes footage, you know, little featurettes that I've been putting up there, maybe a little bit of vlogging here and there. I'm going to try to, you know, try to supply for the demand, because you guys are continuing to come back to my channel. I really appreciate it. And, you know, I created this company, Thunder Knock Studios. You know, it's kind of like an inside joke that I had with my brother and my family, Thunder Knock. So, you know, it's meaningful to me. And I just want to thank everyone else, and thank you guys, the Horror Syndicate, for having me on the show. I appreciate it. You guys are great. You know, I love what you're doing. You're giving indie filmmakers like myself a spotlight and a voice, and I can't thank you enough. And yeah, if you guys wanted to follow me on social media, it's my personal page is JPD224 at Instagram, and you can find me on Facebook at JP DeStanano. Ray, how do you say that last name? How's it? Okay, just making sure.
Took me all show. But if you wouldn't have said it before then, I would have fucked it up. So
Yeah. That's true.
yeah. So man, thanks for coming on. I really appreciate having you. I really enjoyed the movie. I think we all did. Now you know it's a good movie when Seth says nothing. So
What's up, Seth? How you doing?
what's going on, man? He's the strong silent type. But yeah, check it out. The link's in the comments for Halloween Night. It's on YouTube. Just look up Halloween Night. It's an hour long, really good watch. Good acting, good cinematography. I don't know who the cinematographer was.
Mario Almanza.
There we go. And I shared Nate's article on thehorrorsyndicate.com if you want to check that out again. He did say a lot of great things, and I think it's a 5,000 word article. So enjoy that. It's a 37-minute read. No. But again, thanks for hanging out with us, and I'm really happy to know what kind of Halloween fan you really are. 1, 2, and 4, the Loomis way. Thank you.
I really gave it some good thought for you. I didn't just spit it out there.
Yeah, you did. You didn't just go blah, 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 blah. Like,
yeah.
You ask Nate for a list, he gets it to you like that.
Yeah.
Don't you, Nate?
Right.
Anyway,
I just wanted to say, I hope if Renee, if you're watching, I hope you're feeling better, bud.
Yeah, man.
I know I was supposed to share the space with you tonight, and I would have liked that. And yeah, feel better, bud.
we'll have to do that. We'll have to set that up sometime. Having two Halloween fan film directors on. We had 2 Fred Krugers on a couple months ago, and it was a lot of fun.
Amazing.
And then Nate in the middle of it all. Well, he's the director, and he's the super fan, right? Super Fred Krueger fan.
I would never claim that. Like people touch it's almost become. Have you noticed this too? I'm sure you have. Every Halloween bit of news you're getting tagged in now, right? Anything Halloween. So everything Nightmare. People call me the Nightmares. Like guys, I have a life outside of Nightmare on Elm Street. Like I like thousands of films. I'm not just a Nightmare guy. I'm not just watching Nightmare on Elm Street every day.
And how many of those, Nathan, is like we got this covered and stuff that's not true?
Hey, we got this covered. Gave me a shout out, so they got something covered.
They got something covered. They got something right.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Well, again, thanks for being on with us, and anybody who's watching still or watches this, please subscribe to the Horror Syndicate on YouTube and check out Halloween Night. It's streaming on YouTube, or you can go to Indiegogo and grab yourself a DVD, which you should, or a T-shirt. Do you have any more shirts?
I have a couple more. Yeah, you guys want some?
Yeah, badass. Yeah, go spend some money, and we know Keith's already spending money. So, anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next week.
Take care, guys.